at least one of the two people next to me texted me about 3 months ago and said, I'm coming on your radio show the last week. How do you like that for inviting myself? It was Bailey. Jerry Bailey, the great Jerry Bailey, the infamous, famous Jerry Bailey, and, of course, his partner on NBC, Randy Moss. Randy, thanks for joining us.
He
Jerry,
just brings me along for the ride.
Yeah.
Right?
Really, he's just cover?
So I'm back there hanging out in the bowels, right? And I'm listening to Todd Schrupp. And I figured, damn, if I got to talk that much, I need a beer.
It's a bar. Have a beer.
So I went to the bar. Sorry.
Jerry and I are not having
Jerry
beers.
doesn't drink.
Jerry doesn't drink, and I have
It's a good thing.
I've had a cold for about 3 weeks in Saratoga. I don't know. I don't even know. I'm not even doing anything wrong. Maybe staying out all night, Travers nights. How you guys doing?
Good. Did you give me a mic that works?
Yeah, your mic works fine.
You sure? Because that's like you to give me a mic that doesn't work.
Well, that would be Randy actually said, get Jerry mic doesn't work. You guys keeping busy, huh? You've been all over. You went in Del Mar, 2 weeks ago? You've been here?
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
It really is hard. Well, you work hard. You're all over the place for the NFL Network, too, right?
Yeah, and it's just getting ready to pick up. As a matter of fact, I'm here through Saturday, do the Woodward. Saturday night, drive to New England to do the Patriots. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, then turn around, drive back to Saratoga to voice show jumping. So it's this time of year, I'm kind of all over the board.
Why are you voicing show jumping in Saratoga?
Well, because the production company that does NBC show jumping is, and NBC seems to think that anything that has 4 legs fits in my domain, right? Even though I know absolutely nothing.
Jerry, you didn't want to do some show jumping?
No, because I go back to Fort Lauderdale and I've got golf on Monday and golf on Wednesday and golf on Thursday and then maybe golf on Friday.
It's a tough life.
Somebody's got to do it.
Tough.
Got my golfing buddies here, Paul and John.
Really? Nice.
He's good, too. He's a very good golfer.
Really?
You don't think I came to Saratoga just to work and
I thought you
do
came
TV.
to be on At the Post Live. I thought you told NBC, I'll
I
come,
filled in
but
the
as long
blanks
as Andy Serling said I have time for me. So you guys are back. So I have to ask a question. There's a lot of talk about the 3-year-olds. Like, what do you guys think of the 3-year-olds? Who are the best? Right now, if they voted for the 3-year-old champion, who would win? And who do you think the best 3-year-olds are in the country?
This is Randy's favorite move. If he doesn't want to answer a question that the host
he'll
asks,
answer
he comes right to me. And then I have to answer.
That's the benefit of sitting in the middle. Jerry's on the end. The host is on this side. The host asks a question. I don't know why I started Jerry.
I suppose
You're deferring to Jerry.
I suppose. I suppose I would vote for West Coast. I mean, you can make a great case for Always Dreaming because he won the Grade 1 Florida Derby and the Kentucky Derby. But he's run so poorly in the last 3 races, the Preakness, the Jim Dandy, and the Travers, that I don't think he would get my vote. Obviously, if you maybe vote now, I'd vote West Coast. But if somebody were to match up and put another Grade 1 on the table like West Coast, I think he'd be a slam dunk. But they'd have to put one more together.
I would abstain.
What if Oscar Performance wins the Joe Hirsch against older horses at
Can't make a
Belmont?
turf horse 3-year-old of the year.
Really?
I would.
In this year?
I wouldn't.
What if West Coast never wins?
Wait.
Doesn't win a big race again this year?
Did you say, the what if again?
Oh, it's a big what if, sure.
What if Oscar Performance does what?
Wins the Joe Hirsch turf class against
older
older
horses.
horses.
And runs well in the Breeders' Cup
Yeah.
turf, and
Yeah,
the 3-year-olds continue to be in disarray. I would vote for him.
Yeah, I mean, in this year, I think it's a special circumstance.
I do too. I would vote for him.
What if Practical Joke won the Breeders' Cup Mile?
Dirt Mile.
Right.
I couldn't make it 3-year-old of the year, no.
I couldn't.
He gets beat in the bluegrass.
Right.
He gets
Not a classic type horse.
No. Right,
No
exactly.
precedent for that.
Yeah.
What about Arrogate? You guys were out in California for Arrogate. What did you guys think?
He was there. I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't? What,
No.
you didn't get the call?
Pay attention, Andy.
Yeah, I
It was
think,
too late. I couldn't watch it.
I mean, some people look at Arrogate and they say, okay, he's not as sharp now. It's true, as he was for the Dubai World Cup, for the Pegasus, for the Breeders' Cup Classic, for the Travers. And they think, okay, the sky is falling. But the fact remains that on any sort of speed figures you want to look at, his race in the Pacific Classic was still, in defeat, better than any race Gunrunner's ever run. So to say that, oh man, Arrogate's in big trouble, he's not going to win the Breeders' Cup Classic. He could run that race back again and win the Breeders' Cup Classic. And he's got more in him if they can just, if it hasn't passed. Is
it the track? I mean, Jerry, as a rider, horses, I always think that track stuff is nonsense, but is it the track that maybe is preventing him from running his better races?
Well, he's won over, 5 different racetracks, so for him, I would say it may not be his favorite, but he's never had an excuse for a track for an excuse before. I will say, I kind of went through the same thing with Cigar. You have an outstanding year, you go to Dubai, you come back, and you're not ever quite the same. And my belief is that Arrogate's Dubai World Cup the way he broke, the amount of links he had to make up, the trip he had took way more out of him than a lot of people think it did. And I don't think you'll ever see a Pegasus performance, a Travers performance, a Breeders' Cup Classic performance again from Arrogate. You might see him win, but you won't see those kind of performances again. I think he can't do it anymore.
I mean, we see so many horses nowadays come back from Dubai and run as like gun runner and run as if it took nothing out of them. But horses are individuals. Different horses react different ways, and the fact remains that you can draw a line in Arrogate's past performances, Dubai, pre-Dubai, and post-Dubai, and there's a big difference.
Why are not people aren't really talking about that though? Most people, you haven't read that much, have you? And Bob Baffert hasn't said that
because
at all.
Bob Baffert hasn't said anything about it. If he would allude to it, I think somebody would pick up on it and kind of run with it. Can he win the Breeders' Cup Classic? Yeah, he can win it, but I don't think he can be 3 or 4 wide on each turn and win it. I just don't.
Do you think it damages his legacy? Because he can say,
I think it's already damaged.
He had 3 or 4 great races, and he didn't do it like you take Cigar, who did it so many times. Cigar just showed up every time.
Well, if Arrogate had won the San Diego and had won the Pacific Classic in the same style that he had been winning, then people would still be beating the drum that Arrogate might be the next Secretariat and one of the, you've seen that subside a little bit. There's no doubt that those 4 races were unbelievable. But, yeah, I think it's damaged his legacy a little bit at this point.
Do you think in racing we use the term great too easily, too frequently?
I think in general we do.
In life?
Yeah.
I do too.
I think you have to look, way past. Look back.
Historical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are some of the best horses you rode besides Cigar?
He was the best one I rode. Now, I didn't ride a lot of great horses, but the best horse I ever saw in person run was Seattle Slew, and he wasn't one of the great ones. He was a great horse, but I don't think you could compare him to Citation, Secretariat, those type of horses. I'm not that old.
Well, his races as a 4-year-old, the end of his career, may have been truly great. The Jockey Club.
Because of the weight that he carried.
The way he ran. His Jockey Club losing that
Yeah.
race on the circumstance. Jerry, you can answer.
Yeah. I put a Kelso and a Forgo in front of Seattle Slew.
Did you see Forgo? I saw Forgo as a kid.
No, I did not.
Yeah, I saw him as a kid. You must have seen him, Randy.
Yeah. We've had this, Jerry and I have had this conversation a lot about horses that he's ridden. And he rode Dubai Millennium.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't ride. I rode him once.
You rode him in.
So I really
you
can't-
had him in Ascot, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't judge how good he was over time. He was great that day, and obviously his record was great.
The horse that gave you the best stretch run feeling?
Victory Gallop.
Yep.
Really?
Victory Gallop ran. He finished the last 3 furlongs of a race faster than any horse I've ever been on in my life. He won the Stephen Foster. He won the Whitney here by a nose, and he was. Those are fun horses for a jockey to ride when you can sit back there and just pull the trigger and you're just flying by everybody. It's great.
He's being modest when he says he didn't ride that many great horses. You go back and look at Medaglia d'Oro's past performances, and it's unbelievable. You look at Street Cry when he was at his very, very best in this country, and Jerry was on his back. So,
Yeah, Street Cry ran an amazing race when he won the Stephen Foster. Didn't he
did.
blow Congaree off the racetrack?
Probably the best race of his career.
Then he lost to Left Bank up here, which was sort of shocking, and then they didn't run again, I don't think, right?
I think they blame me for that one.
Really?
I remember, yeah, I think so.
I don't know if anybody was catching Left Bank that day. You rode
he
a
ran
ton
out of sight.
You rode a ton of great horses. I just find that sometimes I think the greatness it's a lack of historical sort of perspective.
That's why I don't say they're great. I rode many good horses, but as good a sire as Medaglia d'Oro is, I don't think he was a great racehorse. He was really good.
You're comparing them all to Cigar, right?
But I look at now. I'm on the other side, and I look at records of these other horses, and I'm thinking, wow. I mean, and they showed up year after year. I mean, they did it 2, 3, 4 years in a row, and those are great horses, and carried weight doing it. Horses now, they don't carry weight
They'll
anymore.
never carry weight anymore.
Somebody asked me in the production trailer down, what would you have put on Gunrunner for this race? All right, well, you got to go back. Let's say he carried 24 and won the Stephen Foster. All right, pretty handily. So he should have probably, back in the day, he would have carried 26 in the Whitney. And thus, he would have carried at least 28.
29.
In this race.
Right.
Maybe more.
And then he would have gone to Belmont, and he would have run in the Marlboro Cup, and he would run in the Woodward and Jockey Club. And kept
But they don't do
carrying
that.
weight. Yeah, it's amazing.
Even Scar carried, I think, 32 in the mass cap.
Really?
But those days are gone, and maybe it's for the best. I don't know.
Do you think when they carried that kind of weight, and it was weight as opposed to a rider, it was different kind of weight and made it even harder, as opposed to a rider who could maybe use his weight and on a horse.
Yeah, in Cigar's era, when I was riding him, I had special weighted pads. They were rubber, very dense, thick rubber pads. They weren't lead pads, they were rubber pads, and I had one that weighed 8 pounds. So with my saddle filled with lead, and that reached about 30, and I think I had to carry a couple of lead pads that weighed 2 pounds. So I had special pads made for those higher weights. Because it's hard, to me, it's very hard to put, a 110-pound guy and then 15 pounds on a lead pad. The saddle doesn't fit right. You don't feel right on the horse. It's amazing that you put something as small as a lead pad underneath the saddle and you feel totally different on a horse. I'm sure the horse feels it too.
When you guys working on TV together, for both of you, two questions. Do you feel? I think about when you're talking about riders. Do you have any trepidation with being critical? I know you got some flack about criticizing Julian Leparoux's ride in the Preakness. Are you comfortable with being?
I got
critical?
flack. See, I don't read Twitter.
I actually disagree with you.
I don't read Twitter, so I don't know that I got any flack until right now.
I don't read Twitter either. I blocked everybody, so I can't see anything.
I have an account. I think for 4 years
You do
I've
have a Twitter.
I've made
Randy?
19 tweets in 4 years.
I have no problem criticizing jockeys.
Me either.
Randy thinks they're way overrated. Sometimes
As
I agree.
broadcasters too, right?
We have a good time with that.
Working on TV together, and you guys, how long have you worked together?
Since I started.
2006?
Was my first year, my very first. I've worked with Randy the entire time. I've never worked with any other analyst besides Randy. And we have a ball.
We
I
do.
told him when I first sat down, I said, I don't know how long it's going to take me to learn this, but I'm here to have fun. And we've had fun for 11 years.
If you can't have fun when you're working, especially in horse racing, I mean, when you do sports in general, it's like the toy department of life, right? But, and horse racing is even more so. And we've become the best of friends, and we play practical jokes, and we laugh on the set. Sometimes right before we come on the air, something will happen. We have this sort of oddball sense of humor, and we'll be laughing so hard that tears will be streaming, and the producer will be like, "Oh no, you guys
Like
gonna
15 seconds before the red light goes
are you
on.
guys gonna make it?" We're like laughing so hard, and the host is looking at us like, "Uh-oh," but we somehow managed to pull it together.
Totally foreign to me was television. Really, the intricacies of it, what goes on back in the
We
production
can tell,
trailer.
Jerry, though.
Yeah, you knew that, of course. So something for everybody to watch for from now on. It was on the Breeders' Cup show. And there's like a ton of work. It's 15 races and, I don't know, 8, 9,
It's
10
such a
hours.
tough job.
It's a lot of
It's so
preparation.
hard.
So we've got all this, and for some reason, I looked at Randy and I said, I'm kind of bored. I don't know, somebody else was doing something in the paddock, and I said, how much in the truck, in the production truck, do they actually see that we do up here? He says, they see everything. I said, oh, okay. So I always wore a pocket square, and Randy never did. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. At the commercial, I'm going to take my pocket square out, and you're going to put it in your pocket. And then we're going to take it and give it to the host, and then we're going to take it send it with a runner to the paddock, and it's going to go to every on-air talent in the Breeders' Cup broadcast, and then back again, and we'll see if they notice.
And it was a very bright, noticeable pocket square, right? Go ahead.
Nobody noticed. So we thought. First of all, we started back and forth for about 3 commercials, and then we decided to send it all around. So go ahead.
Well, the one person noticed. For 2 or 3 years, my mother, rest her soul, would always be, Jerry wears the nicest pocket squares. Why don't you ever wear a pocket square? And it just wasn't my style, right? So that particular telecast, my father happened to be going to the refrigerator as husbands do to get something to eat. My mother was watching TV, and I come on the air wearing Jerry's pocket square after a commercial break. So my mother's like, Jim, come here, quick. Randy's got a pocket square. So, he doesn't. I saw him earlier in the show. He doesn't have a pocket square. So by the time my father made it to the TV, we were already off camera and commercial break, and we came back on camera, and there I was again, no pocket square. The pocket square had moved on to the next person.
So you inadvertently tortured his parents.
And
Nice guy that you are.
You can imagine the conversations between mother and father, So Monday, when I talked to my mother, she was like, please tell me that at some point in the show you had a pocket square. And I said, yes. So one person noticed. Yeah.
So those are the kind of fun things, the childish type of things that we can do on.
The warped, this sort of oddball sense of humor that we have that kind of gets us going. There was we were coming on the air for some small show, and we come right on the air, and we're going to do a race. I mean, they're like loading in the gate almost, right? And one of the horses in the race was a horse named Peej, P-E-E-J. And so we're like literally 20 seconds, 30 seconds before air. And Jerry leans over to me and points at this horse and says, "How do you say this horse's name?" I said, "The J is silent." and he said, okay. And he looked down and he saw the horse's name and just absolutely lost it. And then I lost it. And then we were like going for
So it's a good job.
for a while.
Guys, we got to go.
That's our sense of humor.
We got to go. We're out of time.
Already?
It's been so great to have you. Yeah. It's great having you. We're having so much fun. The time went by. Randy Moss and Jerry Bailey, thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Okay.
And we look forward to seeing you over the weekend. Of course, you're on from 6 to 7 covering the Woodward and the Spinaway.
Correct.
Quickly,
Correct.
can Gunrunner lose?
Oh, yeah, he can lose, but
I don't think he will.
I think he might lose.
I think Rally Cry is going to get a perfect trip sitting third behind Neolithic and Gunrunner, and if any horse is going to beat Gunrunner. And we had a guy come up to us who follows this sort of thing, and he told us literally less than an hour ago that Rally Cry is the best training horse in America.
In the morning.
In the morning. Just waiting for him to do it in the afternoon, and maybe the last race is an indication. That
We'll
he may
see.
be.
It's a better matchup than the Whitney. I
Look
think
at
it's
his
a more
grade one
competitive
record.
race. I agree.
I rest my case.
He's never gotten it done in the big races. Jerry
Exactly.
Bailey, Randy Moss. Stay with us. We come right back.